good evening, and welcome to, live number 3 of 2020.
Yes, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining. And for those of you that will be joining afterwards, or are new here, I'm Tanya.
And I'm Dave.
And we are Turn It Up World. We do post on a regular basis. We're trying to put more of 2 videos a week out and 1 live. And our lives are every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. At least that's what it is for now.
Yes, and we're sticking to it.
And we're sticking to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just want to say we've had quite an amazing time. Obviously, you can tell from the topic of discussion tonight, it's going to be about Boston!
Boston in the house.
Beantown, Boston in the house. And we had a really incredible time. Now, we're from the Boston area. But one thing is we've never really explored Boston, I guess filming-wise. So it really kind of opened up our eyes to different avenues in different neighborhoods.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's actually fun. It was fun vlogging Boston.
Yeah.
You know, never done that at all. And kind of live there, you don't really take advantage of what the city has to offer.
No, not at all.
Right, so it kind of got us out there exploring different areas. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. We have quite a bit more to go there, too.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So we're probably going to wait just a couple of minutes, not a minute, a couple of seconds actually, give some folks some time to come in here and join. If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. That'd be great. We're obviously trying to work and improve on our equipment and things. We've had some malfunctions on a couple of these sessions, so we just want to make sure it's all crisp right now.
Exactly.
So I guess if you haven't already and you are new here watching this or you are familiar with Boston, we always encourage leave comments for sure. If you have any questions that we may not have talked about or will talk about tonight, leave them. We do try and answer as many questions as we can, and we always get back to them for sure. And subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to do that, and the notification bell so that you get,
Absolutely. And also give this video a thumbs up if you would as well. We appreciate that. It helps out.
Absolutely. A thumbs up is a huge thing. Give us a thumbs up. Bing. Bing, bing. Yeah, the more thumbs up you give, the better this video chances for other folks that may even be interested in Boston will see this video as well.
Exactly.
So,
yeah,
for sure. So we have someone that just joined us in here, Terry Lynn. Staycations can be the best. Explore your own backyard first and explore abroad. You guys rock. Thank you so much, Terry Lynn. Thank you. We totally agree with that, by the way. I think exploring your own backyard, a lot of folks don't do this. And including us. We've been in Boston for umpteen years, a long time, forever. You grew up in the area.
Oh, yeah.
And you never really explore your own backyard the way someone that's either visiting or a tourist would.
Right. I probably did the Freedom Trail as a kid. My mom probably took me. I don't remember, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That means it's probably only once.
Exactly. It's like, oh,
and you're like,
Mom.
No more. I don't want to do this ever again.
This silly red line. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And Terry Lynn asked, are we still planning on RVing?
Absolutely. I'm just going to put it out there. Yes, we are. We've been doing some homework on RVing and places to kind of start that adventure. But stay tuned because we are definitely looking forward to that. It's just we're doing some diligence right now, some homework for sure to kind of explore the right paths for us this year in 2020 when it comes to that. But stay tuned for that staycation in RV.
Right. All right, so should we get started, you think, on Boston a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of briefed a little bit about, we're from the area and how it was really nice for us to be able to kind of, I guess, film around Boston. And so much has changed.
Oh, I know. Things have changed a lot over the years.
Yeah, even over the course of like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's changed.
Neighborhoods have gotten a lot nicer. Some places that were kind of junky are now really nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Now, Boston never had huge junky areas and things like that, but some of the areas that weren't so nice now are amazing.
Yeah.
Right, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Boston is actually one of the oldest cities in the U.S. It's pretty old.
Exactly.
A lot of history in Boston. I mean, there's so much history, kind of all where it all originated. Obviously there's quite a bit you can learn from what happened in Boston.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously instrumental in the whole Revolutionary War, really where the whole revolution kicked off, right? With a lot of the colonists, pushing back on the British Empire. So, that's tremendous history there to check out. It's, found it really interesting.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know early on, we did put together a 2-part mini-series of Boston. You should definitely go check that out. David's probably going to, at some point throughout the night, put the links to those in the live chat. so that you guys, after the live, can go check it out for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So we can work on that.
So I guess tonight's topic is the best of the best, right? So we're going to be talking about the best of the best in Boston. And if you've been to Boston before, let us know. And what was your favorite part about Boston? And then once we kind of get to the Q&A and everything, I'd love to kind of hear what people's thoughts are.
Yeah.
And I always ask this question. Let us know where you're from. We love to hear like where you guys are from, where everyone's coming in from the live streams. We really do appreciate that for sure. And if you're just new and joining us, give this video a thumbs up. Hello, welcome, all you newbies that might be joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, let's go from there.
Right, okay.
I covered the grounds.
Okay, great. Yeah, so actually might be a little odd, but if it's the first time visiting Boston, one thing I recommend is actually taking a duck boat tour. Right? It seems a little odd, very touristy, but it actually helps you kind of orient in the city. They're really fun too. You go out in the Charles River Basin in these boats. The boats are basically old World War II kind of marine boats that could go on land and water, and they're kind of fun. You go if you haven't gone on one before, but they go through a lot of the main sites, tell you a lot about the city, and then also go into the Charles River Basin. So you're actually in the water, and so that's pretty cool. You may have also seen them. They use those for the championship parades that they have.
Yes.
The rolling parades,
exactly.
right? So
Exactly. And they're fun to do. Like Dave was saying, it's definitely something like we always feel like whenever you're going to like a new city, or if you haven't been, you just definitely do something where you're getting a tour of the city to really kind of feel exactly what the city's about. And I think that kind of helps segue into a lot of things you might do in the city. It gives you a little bit more of appreciation for that city if you have a background knowledge of, the city itself.
Exactly. No, it's true. And it's a lot of fun too. And one thing which we kind of mentioned, I didn't really take advantage of when we were living there, is the Freedom Trail.
Yes, that was amazing.
It's actually amazing. We this last trip, we vlogged a number of spots on the Freedom Trail, and it's just it's about a 2-mile span.
Yeah, it's about 2.2
right?
mile span. There's like 16 historical spots along the way, and it's really cool. It's like if you've seen our last video, it just reminds me of like Dorothy, follow the yellow brick road.
Exactly.
It's like follow the red brick road, literally 2.2 miles of bricks. And some parts, obviously, it's in the street. They painted the bricks to kind of help you with the trail. Then there's like little plaques along the way to let you know you're on the right path. But it's a lot of fun to do, and it's encouraging.
Right, and there's 16 different places to check out along the way, so pretty cool. We did a number of them, like Bunker Hill we went to, which was a lot of fun, and the USS Constitution, of course, Quincy Market.
Yep, and wear a Fitbit, or because you'll get a lot of good steps in there for sure. It's fun. I just thought it was we didn't actually do the full trail, obviously because we're from there, but at the same time, I think it was just something that anyone going there should definitely experience.
Yeah. We actually saw a lot of people, it almost seemed like they were jogging the trail.
Oh,
yes, doing it, right?
yeah.
So a lot of these joggers that were encouraged, I think they were actually jogging the Freedom Trail.
Mind you, it was cold, it was rainy, and they were out jogging that trail.
Trails,
that is just Beantown in effect. So, hi, Drew in the Moment. Thank you so much for joining us. Drew in the Moment says, love Beantown. Fenway Park is my destination.
Yeah.
Faneuil Hall is great, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, those are definitely cool spots.
Oh, yeah. Faneuil Hall and, Quincy Market, definitely. Obviously, it's hugely touristy, but it's a spot that you got to check out with tremendous history. One of the earliest markets, really, in the Americas.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. And they've grown. I mean, obviously, because of tourism, it's gotten so popular. There used to be some pop-up shops there that now have full-on shops inside Quincy Market. And what's really cool is you'll have like the street performers, which I think is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
They're really talented street performers. And I encourage you, if you're going there, have $1 or $2, put it in their tip bucket, because they're performing for you. They're giving you a show that if they were really famous and talented, you pay a lot of money for.
Right. And they have pretty decent food in Quincy Market, too. It's like a big whole, basically, you walk down this aisle in Quincy Market, just food places left and right all across. So you can get your chowder, get your lobster roll.
Oh, yeah. You can even get a hot lobster roll there if you like.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
And tons of dessert. But it's really neat. Like, you can kind of go through. There's a lot of places to sit, like Dave was saying. It's a wonderful little spot for sure. It can get really crowded. I will definitely tell you that, during especially the tourism seasons, summertime, springtime, when it's a little bit warmer there, it can get really crowded. It was pretty busy, and we were there in the winter. It was pretty busy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can imagine what that's going to be like during the summertime.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a great little market, one of the hot spots you as a newbie or a tourist, or just may enjoy the Quincy Market area, you know, the Faneuil Hall. I definitely think check it out.
Right, if you go from Quincy Market, right, and you follow the Freedom Trail to the north end, you go to one of the best places really in Boston. We love the North End.
Oh, yeah.
And the Freedom Trail will take you right to the Paul Revere House, which is over in the North End, as well as the Old North Church. where it basically started the whole Paul Revere ride out to Lexington and
The
Concord.
British are coming! The British are coming! The British are coming!
Or so the story goes.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
But the North End, it's really the Italian section, at least, originally was, and it still has a lot of authentic Italian restaurants and cafes and pastry shops there. Cannolis are an amazing thing. So definitely a top destination to check out.
Yeah, for sure. There's just, I said it once before that there's so much history in Boston. It could take you months, to kind of learn it all. There's a lot of different hot spots. I mean, you can just tell from like the buildings alone. There's just so much detail in that architecture that stems back to like the 1600s.
Right. And I will say this, growing up when Italy was actually really strong in soccer, they aren't quite as strong now, but when they were in the finals of the World Cup, I remember being on Hanover Street, which is a main street in the North End, and you had a whole group of Italians going down the street going, Italia, Italia! And the governor was there as well going, Italia!
Wow!
Exactly, which is pretty funny. He was an Irish guy, but it's very authentic. I mean, it's Italian kind of colors and banners everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And it's really a cool spot to check out, and with great restaurants. I mean, Neptune Oyster which we just went to.
That's
in the
the
last
North
vlog.
End.
Yeah, it was amazing. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So Drew actually says, checking in from Lakeland, Florida, but I'm from Portland, Maine, and always hang in Boston. Awesome. So you went from way up north to the south, and you went from cold and super snowy in Portland to the heat and alligators of Florida.
Yes, that's right.
Wow, quite the transition, but it must be nice. I mean, summers must be pretty brutal there, but at least you don't get like the 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, I don't know Lakeland as much, but Portland, Maine's a great town.
Yeah.
We actually like that as well. The old
Lobster.
the old port area.
Oh, yeah.
It's really kind of cool, the cobblestones and things like that.
Oh yeah, the
Really neat
shops
spot.
are great. We actually picked up a few. I think we got some a couple of trinkets and
Yeah,
things we got
some ceramics,
some ceramics.
things like that.
Yeah,
Cool stuff.
really cool shops up there in
Yeah.
Portland. Nice, good place. And Boston's a great spot to hang out. So yeah, you kind of know what you're doing. So if you've been to Boston, Drew, what's one of your favorite like spots to eat? I'm curious to know, like, folks, in terms of food, and what's your favorite area of Boston?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess since you kind of talked a little bit about the North End, I guess that's where maybe we should go. The North End is another hot spot. And like Dave was mentioning, one of the places we went to was called Neptune's Oyster, which I was going to talk about this a little bit later on, but I think like the food, Neptune Oyster, it's one of the best spots to get a hot lobster roll, and yes, hot lobster roll.
Oh yeah.
And oysters. They're just phenomenal.
Plus the cannolis at Mike's.
Oh
as
yeah.
well, right?
Yes. But
So I'm chewing on an ice cube.
Yeah, but Neptune's actually like what was nice too was the service. The service was absolutely amazing, and that was one of the nice things. Now it is definitely a pricey spot, really expensive in our opinion, but you don't feel like, okay, well, that was a really expensive meal and it wasn't worth it. Everything was worth it. The service was worth it, and I would definitely suggest getting there early if you are going to go, because it can get pretty booked up. I mean, we got there probably a half an hour after they opened, and it was like a 45-minute wait.
45 minutes, and they don't take reservations. So some people get early and wait in line.
Oh yeah,
right?
There's like a huge line. There could be like, I mean, it's obviously a very popular spot for that. It's actually a new place too. It's not that old.
No, it's not that old. It is very kind of hip for sure, because as we were
word.
walking around, I mean, that place, Neptune Oyster, was completely crowded, right, with 45-minute wait to get in, and we could walk down the streets, and there were so many restaurants that were empty. You know what I mean? So you kind of had the have and the have-nots, and I'm sure some of those restaurants were amazing.
Oh, absolutely. So Terry Lynn actually says, Dave, growing up that close to the Canadian border, did you ever holiday in Canada?
Yeah, it's funny. Growing up, we used to have, we did some trips up in the winter months. It's our February vacation up to Mount Tremblant in Quebec, which was kind of like a crazy Griswold family adventure up there. But it was a lot of fun just driving up for a long time, and Mount Tremblant in Quebec was pretty amazing. I was really young though, so I don't remember a lot of it. It's kind of where I learned to ski as a little kid. Like I was probably like 4 or 5 years old.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, so I've never been to Canada, which is one of the things I think we're definitely 150% going to do. We're going to try and get maybe that RVing going through parts of Canada, which I think would just be amazing. Like, we love being, the great outdoors. I feel like over this past year, I've ate so much amazing food that it is definitely sitting on my body a little bit. So I'm looking forward to doing more like great outdoorsy type things that also can get myself back into shape. And Canada's a really great spot, I think, for RVing. There's just so much like picturesque spots, and to be able to do that with an RV, kind of at your own will and that freedom, I think that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. And of course, the classic spot you're thinking about out in Banff and the amazing
Lake
Rockies
Louise.
out there. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible out that way.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah. So Drew says he loves, is it Preza? Prezza. I'm not familiar.
Heard of that.
Yeah, where is that? Let us know.
Preza sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, it might be the North End.
In the North End. An Italiano ristorante in the North End.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I've never been there. Terry Lynn gives us the thumbs up. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, thumbs up. So Terry Lynn, where are you from? I'd like to maybe know that. Where are you pinging in from today for sure? Well, that's one of the other things too. Is like obviously Boston is known for. I guess since we're kind of on the food and everything else as well. Boston is kind of known for their lobster, New England clam chowder.
Yeah.
And so there was another spot that we went to, which is phenomenal. I thought it was more of a lobster sandwich. You have the traditional lobster roll, but it was a lobster sandwich. Very small, kind of quaint spot, kind of off the beaten path in my opinion. It's called Alive and Kicking.
Alive and Kicking.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Right, and it's funny, it kind of looks a little bit divey.
Very divey. Not a little bit, very divey.
Yeah, no, it actually is divey. But the lobster is really fresh, amazing. And people are friendly too. And I guess in the summertime too, it gets really hopping. Right, they have a kind of an area where in the winter it's kind of open with cars parking, but they bring out tables and chairs.
Oh yeah, they have like stacked benches and chairs that they kind of fill the parking lots with. And what was really interesting was they even had the sign right outside about the things that they serve written in Chinese or Asian.
Right, that's interesting.
And it was interesting because of the fact that they're really trying to cater. It gets that busy, that everyone goes there. It's really famous for the food that they serve. And we actually had the a little bit of the clam chowder, which we shared, and we had the lobster sandwich. And I thought it was really good. I mean, I'm a huge lobster, roll fan. And a lot of times, a lot of places will kind of really saturate that in mayo. You know what I mean? And onions and everything else. So you have a lobster in there, but it's more the texture versus like the flavor of it. But this place didn't really do much at all. It was like a little butter, on that nice Italian kind of bread. Delicious. Very good.
Really
good spot you should check out for sure.
Yes, definitely. And the clam chowder wasn't too bad.
No.
If you like kind of very kind of clammy clam chowder, I think they put in some a fair amount of kind of clam juice. So you kind of tasted that.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little different.
I didn't get that at first. Like for me, I felt at first it wasn't too bad until I got to I think you had a lot more of the clams, like the individual clams. Yeah. It was packed with clams. Like towards the bottom, it was a lot of clams. And I think what I might have done is kind of got it from the top where there was some floater pieces and some potato. So it didn't actually taste too clammy to me until I got to the bottom of it. And you're right, it was really clammy. And adding the hot sauce was that was a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So Terry Lynn actually is from the Toronto area.
Hey!
It's a beautiful city.
Beautiful
really
city.
Really nice, yeah. And our partners from Stratford, the home of the Stratford, is that Chef's School? Oh, Stratford Chef's School. Wow. So
great food, organic farms, breweries, nice place to
stop an RV tour.
Ooh.
We're coming over.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to be writing that down after this for sure.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Should we talk a little bit about Beacon Hill? If you think about Boston, you have three of the oldest neighborhoods are basically Beacon Hill, Charlestown, and the North End. Right? We talked about the North End quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And we spent quite a bit of time in Beacon Hill on our last trip up there, and it's pretty cool. It's some of the wealthiest homes are up on that hill. Whew. Right? And some really nice. You got to be quiet.
Very.
It's a little uppity. I gotta say,
quiet.
It's a little uppity on Beacon Hill.
Yeah, very.
Right. But Charles Street, which is right at the base of Beacon Hill, has some great restaurants, beautiful brick sidewalks. We had breakfast there at the Paramount, which we didn't love.
Well,
right?
I felt like the Paramount was very much like a traditional diner food. It almost felt like it was one of those local spots where people that have lived there for many years will go there for breakfast, like a diner. You live in a certain area. It's kind of one of those spots where people go for their morning breakfast coffee, and it's almost like the energy of the place and the people that are there. They see them. They may not see them all week, but they get there in the diner and they know everybody that's there.
Right.
So it kind of felt like that vibe. Very basic breakfast, that's for sure. And that's another spot that is pretty darn popular, especially during like the summer months. I'm assuming spring and summer. The lines can go out the door, and it's first come first serve. That's it. There's no there's no what do you call it? You can't make a reservation
no
for sure,
reservations.
and you can't take your seat.
Yeah, you cannot. You do not. Whatever you do not sit on a table before you actually get your
order.
Food.
Exactly.
You got to get your food first, and then you take a table.
Yep.
They're very clear on that. They have like a big sign that says that.
Huge sign that tells you better not go in there and put your like jacket down on a table and try and reserve it before you order your food and get your food.
Yeah, no. It's a big no-no.
That's a big no-no. Yep, read the sign.
Right. And actually on Beacon Hill has one of the most photographed streets in all of the United States.
Yes, that's Acorn Street.
Yes.
It's so funny. I guess because it's so popular and so photogenic, that they have a sign up there that says no photos unless you go through there, and basically they have their own community. I mean, they pay their own taxes for that community. You know what I mean? It's like their own cult.
Well, I know. And we were making a little bit of noise, and I walked up the street, and I got scolded by a fellow who sounded a little British.
Yeah, and he was hidden in a window somewhere. Some Englishman that was like basically saying, "Shut up!"
I know. Sounded much more polite though, sort of. Not really.
Yeah, a little bit more polite way of saying, "Shut up! Shut up!"
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah, so I do love like exploring those little hidden pockets, which is something that we've never done. We have like we go in, we do what we have to do. It's like our set target. Go into Boston, go to the restaurant, go to the movie, go here, go home.
Right.
That's it. So it was kind of nice to kind of venture off and see like the changes, even though it was rainy. But one of the fun things we did, and I think it's something you want to check out too, is Bunker Hill. And Bunker Hill it's free. To be able to climb up to the top of the Bunker Hill Monument. And on a clear day, it's 294 steps, but once you make it up to the top, on a clear day, you should have some really pretty views of Boston.
Yeah, it's a great spot. You can actually bring a picnic there, right, on a sunny day, just really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Not when we were there. It was kind of cold and a little damp, but but definitely in the summer, drizzly. It's a nice spot.
Oh, yeah,
and close by, of course, Bunker Hill, you have the USS Constitution, which is a cool spot to visit. You can get a free tour of the boat. USS Constitution, if you don't know, is the oldest still commissioned Navy ship in the world.
Correct.
Which is amazing. So it's cool to check out. One of the old tall ships, basically.
Oh yeah, and you can, if you're following that the Freedom Trail, it'll take you right there.
Yeah, exactly. Follow the red brick road.
It'll take you right to that beautiful landmark. You'll see that there's an awesome Navy ship on the other side of that as well. But it's beautiful.
Right.
It's really
nice.
Beautiful. There's a lot of stories behind that as well. And if you want to know a little bit more of that story, just check out the video. Again, Dave will put the links inside of the chat for you guys to check out those two in Boston. And leave some comments. We love comments. Any questions you have, for sure. And anyone new joining us, if you are new here, give this video a thumbs up. We do appreciate that because all the thumbs up, all the love goes a long way.
Absolutely. Actually, and Boston has a lot of the oldest things in America, if you think about it. There's a number of things.
Old
if you think about it, like they have the oldest subway.
Oh yeah.
So when you go down into that T, and it may not be as pretty as some of the other ones.
It's a lot prettier than maybe the New York ones we rode on.
Yeah, that's true. But it's apparently the oldest subway, and they also have the oldest common. So the Boston Common is the oldest common in the United States, and it's nice. That's a place definitely to check out. The Boston Common and the public gardens, just great in the summertime in particular. And the public gardens are a lot of fun too. You can kind of take the swan boats around. They have a nice little pond there, a beautiful bridge, and you can kind of jump on. They have these swan boats where you're basically tour around. Yeah. I'm trying to think if you actually pedal or is it someone actually is doing it for you. I think someone's doing it for you because it's a pretty good sized boat, but it's probably worth doing. They also have the ducklings in the public gardens.
It's kind of a famous little story. They dress them up. I mean, it's like these duckling statues, like a mom and then the ducklings. And during like certain times of the year, I think I remember seeing one where it was like the Patriots when they were kind of in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had little scarves.
They all had scarves, and some of them even had jerseys, like little mini jerseys for like the Patriots. Really cool.
Probably some Brady jerseys on them or something.
I'm sure, exactly.
I'm
sure, exactly.
Right.
And one of the things I do like is Newbury, that street.
Yeah, Newbury Street. It's like
really I mean, obviously it's a really high end kind of street.
Yeah.
A lot of shops. There are some cute restaurants. Now we haven't been there recently, so I'm sure, like everything else in Boston, that street has changed. I'm sure there's new restaurants,
it's changed
new
a
shops.
lot. Yeah.
There's a lot that has changed. Like a lot of the mom and pop shops that used to be in a lot of these areas have probably pushed out a little bit more because of the fact that real estate and things have gotten so expensive there that they can't afford that real estate. So
yeah, that's got to be
commercial
such
places.
expensive real estate.
Oh, huge.
I mean, I remember growing up on the corner of Newbury Street and Mass Ave. You had an amazing destination site for me as a kid, Tower Records. It was like a 5-story store of just amazingness of different CDs and vinyl to explore, and of course that's long gone. But it was fun back in the day.
Yeah, they had those in New York too. I remember
right,
Tower
the big
Records
Tower
in New
Records.
York.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was pretty in Times Square.
Yeah.
I used to kind of go there. I remember that.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think they probably originated there.
Yeah. So I guess another popular spot, I think actually Drew mentioned this before, was the Lansdowne Street.
Yeah, Lansdowne Street in Fenway Park. Fenway Park, yeah. Fenway Park, the oldest still standing, still being used baseball
park. The Green Monster.
In the United States.
Yeah, the Green Monster.
Yeah, one thing cool about Fenway Park is that it was built right into the neighborhood.
Oh, exactly.
Right, it's just, the streets are right around it. And that's why you had this massive Green Monster. They didn't have enough space to make left field far enough, so they just put a big wall up.
Yeah.
Right, which of course is the Green Monster. But Lansdowne Street's a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time on Lansdowne Street.
Oh yeah.
Right, so they have a great House of Blues there.
Yes.
Which is a lot of fun if you want to check out some music. They have great bands that come in there. They have a great foundation room too, which is fun there, and a restaurant that's quite good. And one actual tip about if you wanted to go to a show at the House of Blues, and it's a band you really wanted to see. You could actually go to the restaurant in advance, and they'll normally let you in early, ahead of the line, if you actually eat at the restaurant before the show. And that's something we've done in the past as well. Not every band allows it, but many do. So just a tip for trying to get to the front of the line if you want to.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Very good tip. It's a lot of nightlife too on Lansdowne Street. It's it's definitely a hub for clubs and the bars and things as well. I remember coming right out of, and we used to love the House of Blues there for sure, and we've seen many shows. But coming out there on a weekend, a Friday or Saturday night,
oh yeah,
you hang a left, hang a right, it's just packed with people. Restaurants, the bars are pretty packed out there.
Oh yeah, and if the Red Sox are playing, right, it's chaos. And then if they get out when you're getting out, Lansdowne Street is completely packed.
Oh yeah.
You have a lot of kind of small little pubs that are more kind of Red Sox type bars as well, with the Cask and Flagons there, which is a famous kind of Red Sox little pub right on the corner.
Oh yeah, and even when they're not, when they're not in season, that's a popular spot. A lot of folks go to. Good beer,
exactly. And if you go around the corner to Kenmore Square, it's a neat little spot. Really, the heart of Boston University.
Oh yeah.
Right. So just one of the many schools in Boston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Terry Lynn actually she says here, where are you guys thinking of traveling in 2020? The Caribbean, South America, further abroad? We have quite a bit in store. Maybe we'll maybe we'll brief that in a little bit, know. But I'm just to kind of ponder a little bit more. We have a lot in store in terms of what we're thinking about doing for 2020. We'll execute a bunch of it. We'll see, but the list is out there.
Yeah,
the list is broad.
Yeah, and I would say a little bit of everything you list there.
Yes, a little bit of all of that for
sure. Exactly. So it's in the works.
It's definitely in the works for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. Tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So now one area actually that has improved quite a bit since I grew up was South Boston. I thought we'd maybe talk about South Boston now, which is really the Irish, really originally known as really the Irish part of Boston, where it had a real density of Irish folks there. And if you watch any of the kind of Whitey Bulger Irish mob movies, right, that's really where it was based. And it's funny, when I lived there for a little bit on N Street, and that was actually Whitey was actually living there at that time as well. But
nice neighborhood.
Yeah, but it's actually gotten really nice quite a bit.
Well, then.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It was. I mean, I never thought it was a bad neighborhood. It had a lot of character. There's some classic spots there, a great place to eat there.
But your windows got smashed. So.
Yeah, that's true. My car window did get smashed. I'm an Italian guy though, so I don't know. I'm not in South Boston. I actually really love South Boston. Has great pride, great people, and there's some neat spots there. You have the famous spots. If you go back to Goodwill Hunting, they have the L Street Tavern, which is a little bit of a little dive there in South Boston. But that, it's worth checking out. And a great spot in South Boston too is Castle Island. If you're there in the summer, it's really an old fort, and it's just beautiful to go out. You can actually have a picnic there. There's a great little food spot there called Sullivan's, and they have great hot dogs, and they have great, of course, lobster rolls, like so many other spots in Boston. So
fried clams.
It's a classic spot to go.
Nice fried clams.
And they got a big line there as well. So it's like you got to keep it moving. What do they say? You have to do that kind of
move. You got to move to the left. They have like a dance. It's kind of like a dance to the left.
Keep on moving. Right. But that's a classic spot. So Southie is definitely a spot to check out.
It's also now, it's also the South End is becoming very gay friendly as well.
Yeah, that's the South End.
Right? Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the South End is actually becoming, sorry.
Exactly.
Finish.
No, it's fine.
I need some more juice. I'll be right back.
So South Boston is actually it's a neat spot to check out. And then, as Tanya was mentioning, South End is another area that's improved a lot. Which is actually South Boston's a little bit, it's a different area from the South End. South End is off of Back Bay, and it has some great restaurants that we really are looking forward to trying out as well. More so when we go back up there for some of our additional episodes that we'd love to show you, because it has a lot of neat areas, and it's always been known as really one of the more gay-friendly areas as well of Boston, and it's really a dynamic area that's gotten a lot better, quite frankly, since I grew up. And another area that has improved quite a bit as well is the Seaport area, which is really between the downtown financial district area and South Boston. It used to just be a lot of kind of empty warehouses, empty space, not a lot there, and it has improved just dramatically. There's a lot of hotels have gone in, office buildings, restaurants and shops. It's a great place to check out now. You get some of the best views of Boston there as well. You're looking out over over Logan Airport too. So if you want to check out some of the planes coming, you can do that as well. So pretty cool area. So that's the Seaport. Thought I'd mention that as well. And
so if you have any questions, guys, I know we're whipping. We're kind of like whipping through like a lot of this stuff here and like 30 minutes.
I know, right?
So Dave gets really excited. This is kind of like growing up in the hometown, so it's kind of he's a lot to kind of encourage and kind of talk about as well, because he's been there all his life. I've been in Boston for a long time, double-digit years, but this guy knows.
Yeah, you've spent a lot of time in Boston as well, and of course Cambridge. You spent a ton of time in Cambridge.
I kind of have I did at the time before starting this full-time journey. I had a very successful commercial residential real estate business in Boston, so that's kind of a little bit of tasty tidbit of history for me until we kind of embarked on this full-time travel about a year ago. But I know a lot about it, but I feel like this guy's like the king.
No.
This guy's the king.
Right.
So where did you leave? What were you kind of?
Well, I thought it might be worth talking about Cambridge a little bit, right? So there's a lot of areas in Boston, but also a great area to check out that's not in, say, Boston proper, but certainly in the Boston metropolitan areas. Of course, Cambridge, home to Harvard and MIT, and
there's a lot of cool. I think Cambridge is very much, if you go to Mass Ave in Cambridge, it's a very popular avenue over there. There's a ton of like new restaurants, all different kinds of infusions that were there. I spent a lot of time in Cambridge, and the restaurant scene there is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's old, very kind of old, kind of classic charm, the brick buildings. So definitely something, and a really cool antique and vintage shops over there as well. So definitely, I feel like something you should definitely check out when you're there. Cambridge has a lot to offer. Obviously, it's home to Harvard and a bunch of other places, but it's amazing.
Yeah. And you can actually watch our video on that. Actually, I need to put those in the room, which I'll do.
Yeah, well, dude,
right?
Definitely put those in the room.
And one thing about Harvard Square that's changed over the years, it used to just be full of independent shops, Harvard Square itself.
Oh, yeah.
Now rent has gone up quite a bit there as well. And so many of those independent shops are now chains. Like instead of having that independent coffee shop, you have Starbucks. You may have some of these national retailers there, more like mall stores versus some of the independent ones. And so we enjoy Central Square quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which I think has more
of
that.
It's one of our favorite spots.
Yeah,
Definitely
really
one of our favorite spots, like Central Square. They have some really cool coffee shops. They have a lot of like vintage, and I love that. For me, I love thrifting,
Yes.
The Goodwill kind of thing, or vintage shops. And some of the places you can really find some great deals, but it just really has that really kind of, I guess you would say, artsy vibe. So it's a really like artsy kind of vibe, including like there's the famous like graffiti, kind of the graffiti alley that you can check out for sure, where a lot of taggers and street artists put their talent, their artwork up.
Right. What's kind of cool about that too is I feel like you always smell the paint.
That's not cool.
Right. No, but it's interesting. It's
get a little high there.
Yeah, but it's not like just a mural that's been painted and it stays there. It's constantly changing.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so that wall's changing every day. You can go there every day. It'll be something new and different.
Yeah, and there's so much paint on the walls that it's starting to close in.
Yeah, exactly. Because they got to squeeze through. It's like the cavern.
Exactly.
Right.
Terry Lynn says Northeast Coast is really popular in the fall. What are your attractions outside of the fall? What are the attractions outside of the fall?
Yeah, so you're talking about there for the foliage, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, for us, I mean, really a lot of things we were kind of talking about in terms of Boston.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, Boston's a great spot I think it's great
Both.
year round.
I think year round,
right?
for sure.
We kind of enjoy the snow.
We do.
Right. And so when you see the snow falling through these beautiful buildings, I mean, we kind of enjoy it. I know many folks.
Because we kind of grew up with that. Like it's growing up, both of us, it's that classic vibe that the winter times, like the snowy winters, we used to have snowy Christmases. So it's kind of like that mentality of the winter times, it's kind of nice to see the charm of the winter.
And plus it's snow day. As a kid, it's like, oh, no school.
Snow day, no school.
Day, let's do it. Right? And if you get a ton of snow, you'll see people on Beacon Hill and also on top of Bunker Hill in Charlestown sledding down some of those roads.
Yeah, down the
cool.
streets. Yeah. I'm talking about like in the middle of the street, they're sledding down.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Pretty cool. That's how much snow we get in those areas.
Yeah, for us, I mean, there's really so much to do, whether, in the winter you can go, if you have snow, you can go skiing, and, cross country, you can go downhill. We love taking advantage of kind of the waterways. The Charles River Basin is great for, kayaking, for sailing and things like that. Also, the Boston Harbor is great for sailing as well, which we've done. And there's some great islands to visit out in the harbor. I'm just trying to think about things beyond just the foliage, which, Terry Lynn is talking about. There's quite a few things. We also love, if it's not, say, staying in Boston, you can head up to New Hampshire or Maine and take advantage of the woods up there, and the mountains and the great, beautiful coast of Maine. But then also Cape Cod down to the south, which is obviously an amazing area. So I mean, that whole area, there's opportunities to take advantage of really year round. I think. So.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fun for everyone. I mean, there's things to do. Obviously, the rich history that's involved there, but for kids, there's a lot of things that families can do there for sure.
Definitely. All right, so I'd be remiss not to mention also the passion for sports. Mm-hmm. At least I should say pro sports. It's a very pro sport town.
Yes, it's
right.
Very pro
and
sports.
I mean, I grew up, in the Boston area, and so I'm a Boston sports fan junkie. And so you have of course, the Red Sox and the Patriots and the Bruins. Right. We all kind of suffer. Right, we all kind of do that.
Remotes flying left and right.
Yeah, exactly. We take things much too seriously here, but you can also...
It's all good fun.
Yeah, if you're in town, you may want to check out the oldest ballpark in the U.S. and go see a Red Sox game at Fenway Park, which is a lot of fun. Now, I will warn you that the facilities aren't the greatest. Right, you may have seats.
It's old.
Yeah, and they designed it so in modern stadiums, the seats will all kind of face towards the diamond, towards a pitcher's mound or home plate. Here, your seat may be actually, looking out towards.
Turn.
Yeah, your seat may be looking out towards the bleachers, right? And you have to turn for that. So it's not ideal in that regard, but it has obviously incredible charm. Just classic. I think it goes back to like about 1918 or so. Mm-hmm. I think when the stadium started to be used, and then you have, of course, the Celtics and Bruins play in at the Boston Garden. Which has tremendous history and a lot of fun. So if you wanted to kind of take part in that, now the tickets aren't cheap, right? That's true.
But you know what? If you're going to experience it, go experience it. Terry Lynn actually says so many places to visit. So you know what? That's exactly what I say. There's so much to do. You can do it. I mean, you got to give yourself maybe a week or two and just hammer it out. You'll sleep when you get home. Just get there and start your exploration. From the moment you get there to the moment you leave, and then sleep when you get home.
Exactly. There's also some fun kind of music spots, right? I mean, you sang in a number of these places. For example, in Central Square, there's the Middle East.
Yeah, that was fun.
Which is a famous, little music spot where bands play, and Tanya actually sang there with a band, in the past. Going back,
it was
so
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. Just the vibe down there in that area. It's very music friendly. Obviously, you have the Berkeley School of Music.
Yes.
And so a lot of folks, a lot of talent. Imagine Dragons and a bunch of folks have come from that school there. But I got to perform with some great performers from that school, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Takes you back.
Exactly. And actually, one thing we haven't talked about are really the museums and opportunities there. You have some great museums, also a great aquarium.
Yes.
Right. And so if you're coming into town and you'd enjoy that, they have a wonderful Boston aquarium right on the harbor to check out. Very worthwhile. And then, of course, they have some amazing art museums as well, the Museum of Fine Arts and places like that. And also the Harvard Museum, which we toured in our first video, has some really cool things as well.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of I think one of the recent displays that they had there was Peru and some of the Mayans of Mexico. And it felt kind of awesome to we were just getting back from those countries, and to kind of see a little bit of that in the Peabody Museum was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, so let's see if we have any questions for sure, if you guys have any questions. But oh my goodness gracious. I think we're going to do a lot more in Boston. It's just a place I feel like we could also dive more heavily into. We know so much about it, but yet we know so little.
I know. I have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both do, for sure.
So it's exciting to kind of, dive into more episodes. So we're going to continue with our exploration of Boston for sure. And definitely some of the things like in our own backyard. Like we're also in Austin, and there's so much that we want to do here as well. So outside of a lot of the countries that we plan on visiting and traveling to, it's pretty exciting. So we do have a trip coming up. It's more in the States, but we're going to be heading back to Vegas soon. So that's a lot of fun. And we love food. We've had a great time the first time we were there exploring some of the buffets. So we're going to explore a few more. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
It's going to be fun. Definitely looking forward to that. So if you have any questions for us, let us know. We'd love to take them. And let me actually put those video links in the chat room. So I'll do that now.
Yeah, for sure. So, like we were mentioning earlier, there's really no, in our opinion, there's always a best time wherever you travel, But in our opinion, there is no best time to travel to Boston.
Right.
Every time is the best time. I think you can probably do a lot more if you're willing to put up with the cold in the winter, because most folks won't.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about those extremely hideous long lines at some of the top restaurants, the over kind of crowded areas. Which are typically crowded during the spring and summertime. You don't have to worry about those. So it's definitely a fun kind of place to be, for sure. And you just will fall in love with the charm. In my opinion, I think the charm of the brick roads and the buildings that are there, there's so much charm. It's just...
Yes.
Yeah, you want one, but it's just so damn expensive. You can't afford one.
What's the one's going for? $20 million one is going for?
Yeah, there's
one
right? Actually
My
in
goodness.
Lewisburg. It's a townhouse, for God's sake. That's going for $20 million. Hey, you know what? If you got it, you got it.
More power
That's
to
not
you.
us.
Exactly. More power
That's
to you.
for sure. So I think we covered, quite a bit in terms of, some of the top things to do in Boston.
Yes.
And really, food is a big thing too when it comes to obviously the lobster, the clam chowder. We love it. I mean, he actually fell in love with the hot lobster. He's not really a cold lobster, but he's more of the hot lobster. And the hot lobster was definitely a winner for you.
Yeah, I like my seafood hot.
Yeah.
I'm not into that cold stuff.
Yeah.
Like that cold seafood tower at the Bacchanal was not my favorite, but I like the hot stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's definitely, you know me, I love.
Oh, you love it.
I love that cold shelled fish.
Yeah.
Just little sauces you put in there for sure. Yeah, and there's definitely more of a food scene that we want to explore. I know the South End actually has a couple of restaurants for sure, from more of the cheap end to some a little bit more pricey that are pretty known. So we're definitely looking to kind of explore some of those bits as well. And it will be. I mean, it's now a new year. I mean, time is flying.
It is. I know.
Time is like really, really flying. If you're new in here, thank you so much for joining us. Give this video a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. All the thumbs up goes a long way, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you're planning on going to Boston and you have some questions that we didn't really cover, definitely you can leave them in the comment section after this. I'm going to try and put a little bit more in the description in terms of some of the places that we've gone to, or actually just check out the links that Dave has included in the chat. That'll take you to both episode 1 and episode 2 of our Boston kind of mini series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that about covers it. I mean, it's a little shorter than our usual, but I think we had a great time. Just kind of rummaging really quickly.
I know. I went a little fast. Yeah.
So that's great. And if you have any questions, for sure, we're gonna probably cut this one short tonight. We may do another one towards the end of the week. We'll see. Got some things going on there, so we may do one there for sure. But yeah, I think that probably about does it.
Yeah. So any questions you have? Going once, going twice.
Yeah. And thank you guys. So the ones that are here, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for joining. Good night.